Okay, today is May 25th, and I just wanted to share my experience this month with the Sacred Secretion. The moon was in Virgo on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, and May has just been an incredible month for me. And my experience with the secretion this time was my 8th time of really being conscious going into that time of the month. And it was kind of like the cherry on top of an already incredible month that started out with my shamanic retreat the first week of May, and I still have experiences that I want to share with that. It's been really crazy the end of the school year, so I just haven't had the time to sit and share like I've wanted to, but hopefully when school gets out things won't be quite as chaotic at my house. But the Sacred Secretion this month, I was working on activating my kuyas, which are my sacred stones that I use in my mesa. And so right now I'm activating my north kuyas, and I have a sand painting out in my front yard. And a sand painting is just an arrangement of rocks or twigs, sticks, leaves, flowers, anything that you find in nature, and you arrange it however you feel called to arrange those items that you find. And then, of course, open sacred space. And we had a very specific journey that we were supposed to take with our kuyas before we placed them in our sand paintings. So our kuyas sit, which is our stones, in the sand painting for about a week. And then we ceremoniously take them out and burn everything that was used to create the sand painting. So my rocks are still out there cooking on Pachamama. But I created the sand painting on Monday, so the day before the moon went into Virgo. And you're supposed to sit with your sand painting every day and, work with it because you're activating those stones to be your medicine pieces. And so on Tuesday, when I sat with my sand painting, I did something that I normally wouldn't do. And another aspect about this sand painting, normally I make them in my backyard because it is kind of a private, sacred thing, and my front yard gets a lot of traffic. Well, this time my gut feeling was to do it in the front yard right next to my apacheta, which is also a sacred shamanic thing that draws energy. It's a rock formation that I feed and take care of, and it's to bring energy. So I decided to make my sand painting out front this time, which I usually don't do. So Tuesday, I decided to sit with my sand painting, and the moon had gone into Virgo. This was just a lovely way to start my day and meditation. So I went outside, and I'm going to share the breath of fire. That's the kind of meditation that I start my day with. Try to. And I did it outside in my front yard. And I'll explain it just a little bit. So it's a way of circulating energy. You first draw energy up through the ground, connect to the earth, and do a whole series of breathing. And then you draw energy down and you're mixing the heaven and earth energy in your body. And for women, we're kind of lucky if you wear a skirt, you can go commando and actually sit on the earth. And it's very more, for me, it was a more intense experience having nothing between me and Pachamama. And so I did Tuesday morning, I put a skirt on and I went out in my front yard and sat in front of my sand painting and did this meditation, which isn't a silent meditation. You're breathing. And then there's hand positions as well. So I'm sure I looked crazy to the neighbors out there sitting in front of my rocks and my sticks and breathing. But for me, it was a really beautiful way to start my sacred secretion. And I really felt the energy coming up through the earth. And then when I got to the heaven part, it's also a meditation I did while I was in Sedona at the Mago retreat at one of the sacred places, vortexes. So I will share this meditation in another video because I think it is such an incredible way to connect to the energy of the earth and the heaven and to mix that within us. So I did that Tuesday, sat on my front yard in front of my beautiful sand painting and did that meditation. And another, probably too much information, but I'm going to share it anyways because my moon time is in sync with Virgo being in the moon being in Virgo is what I'm trying to say. Those two things sync up every month. And so, you know, our indigenous brothers and sisters had such a beautiful way of honoring that time of the month for women. And it was kind of a beautiful thing to sit out there in my front yard on my cycle, in my moon time, and meditate with my sacred sand painting. I know this just all kind of sounds crazy and so not like myself. I never would have done that a year ago, let alone in my front yard. But I was covered, of course, like I wasn't out there naked. I had a skirt on, but it was lifted up, and it was just a really beautiful way to start my moon time with the sacred secretion. And then Tuesday night, this was really a beautiful, profound, amazing experience for me. It was about 4 o'clock in the morning. I woke up with a voice in my head. That sounds crazy, but it was my brother-in-law. I have many brother-in-laws. I'm not going to say which one it was, but he said something very clear to me. Spoke straight to my heart, straight to my soul. Jolted me out of a dead sleep. And then I just had to lay there and ponder this message that was so crystal clear. His words were not the message. The words that he used just conveyed a much greater meaning to me. And the essence of the message was about my trigger with the Mormon Church. And this has been on my mind. It's what I took to the shamanic retreat and did a lot of work with while I was there, letting go of that anger, letting go of the wanting to control my son and his decision and his life, and not just allowing him to find his own path and to live it. So what my brother-in-law said to me wasn't so much the words, but the essence of his message was that I can just let it go anytime I choose to. I'm making this much harder on myself than it needs to be. And it really is as simple as a choice, that I have the choice to make this easy or hard. And I've been choosing to make it hard. And I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be at peace with all of it. That doesn't mean that I'm going to put myself in situations that I know my peace won't be, that I won't be able to keep my peace. It doesn't mean I'm going to be there for his farewell. It doesn't mean I'm going to be there when he reads his mission call. But I'm able to let go of that need to want to control. It's so ridiculous because controlling isn't something we can do anyways. I don't have control over anyone in my life except for myself. And I know that. But it was the way the message came to me this time that I was able to really hear it and get it and kind of go, okay, you're right. I've been trying to do something. I've been swimming upstream when I really want to just let go and float. I don't want to fight it. The reason the whole thing came up was because my son has now put his papers in, so he's awaiting his mission call. And I was going to resign from the church and put my papers in to say, get me out. With Mormonism, you have to pretty much get a lawyer to get out of the religion. It's not super easy. There is a place now, a lawyer that will do it for free, and it's called quitmormon.com. And that's what I was going to do. And literally, this dream, this voice, this vision, whatever, the message came to me the day before I was going to submit my papers. And I just don't feel the need to do that anymore, which is huge. I've wanted to resign from the Mormon Church for 7 years now. So to let that piece of my, I don't know, anger go, because it was a way of getting back. You don't get to count me. It's so ridiculous because it doesn't matter. The only people it matters to is my family, my husband and my children, and some of my children, not all of them. Because not all of my children are on the records of the church. So our family is split anyways. But there's something about having the parents, mom and dad, both sealed and on the records of the church that means a lot to my family. So in essence, the message just helped me with letting go of that. I don't care. It's not something I have to do. And I thought it was something that I needed to do. And the truth is, I could care less one way or another about having my name on the church or not having on the church record. But it means something more to my family. So I've let it go. I decided I'm not going to resign. Now, if the church wants to kick me out and excommunicate me, I'll make it easy for them and I will resign. But, so far that hasn't happened. Even with as much as I've spoken out against it. I wrote my book. A lot in my book speaks against the church, and they haven't cared. So until that is an issue, I won't make it one. So getting peace about that was a really big deal for me. And I think the reason I was able to hear the message a little bit better this time had to do with the process of the secretion and just being connected a little bit clearer to my higher self, to spirit, whatever you want to call that. I don't like to use the word God. A lot of people still will say God when they talk about the Sacred Secretion and the Bible, and I would rather use the word spirit or higher self, because that's what resonates most with me. God still has too much religious connotations to it, and I don't like that. But that's just my personal preference. But this month was really, really beautiful for me. I appreciate that there's this seed within me that does amazing things, physically, spiritually, mentally. It's beautiful. And I will share that sacred breath. It's called the breath of fire, and that meditation, because I really think it's a beautiful thing to do, especially do every day, but especially this time of the month. So when you're in that sacred secretion. All right, thanks for listening. Namaste.